right, one of the most important things that we run across in a web application is actually authenticating our users. All right, there's multiple ways of using authentication in a web application. Digest, NTLM, and Basic are three of the most prominent ones. All right, so we'll take a look at only Basic here. The key thing I want you to know about Basic is what happens is generally if the web application gets a request for anonymous requests, then it's going to respond with a request for credentials, username and password. All right. So the username and password are going to be sent base64 URL encoded across the wire. So basically in the query string. All right, which means that they can be easily intercepted. So you generally only want to use basic authentication with HTTPS. All right. Now, to help us with that, we have the basic authentication module, basic HTTP authentication module that comes along with Express. All right, so that's going to allow us to authenticate our users. All right, so here we see that we're requiring Express. Then we're going to require the module basic-auth-connect. All right, make sure that you npm install it. All right, there's our Express object, and we're going to listen on port 3000. All right, so app.use. We're saying in this case, when we say use app.use, we're going to say basic auth, but we're going to give it a callback for how to actually authenticate the user. So that callback is always going to get a user and a password. All right, so in this case, we're just comparing the username to test user and the password to the string test. All right. In real life, what we would want to do is grab these values from a database and compare these properties to the user object's properties. All right. Now, so this part tells basic auth what to do when it gets in a username and password. All right. Now, it's going to, remember I said middleware occurs before we start handling things. So what this is going to do is basic auth is going to kick in before it actually handles this route. So if this returns true, then it's going to go on to this and send successful authentication back to the server. All right. So let's see that in action. Node. There we go. That's one I want. Auth. All right. And if you see that, you know what that means. You need to install it. All right. Now let's try it. All right, so if we go to our browser, HTTP localhost 3000. All right, so see before it handled the root path, it's forcing us to type in a username and password. Like it was test. There we go, successful authentication. All right, if we try it again, it's going to maintain that authentication. All right, so let us stop it and simulate a new user. Storing those credentials. Storing those credentials that I've already been authenticated in the cache. Let me open up a different browser. Alright, now let's put in the wrong information. Alright, so it continues to prompt me for that username and password. Alright, that is it. Take care.